We gon' make some moves tonight, yeah, stand up. Got something to prove tonight, so stand up. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all till it's out. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright.
Hey, good folks, what's going on? My name is Scott Shirkston, and joining me, as always is the case, is Mr. Bill Akins, and welcome to Soccer Sports Writers React. Got to change that title up there because actually he's USL, and I owe him that, so I will do it by next week, I promise. But we got a big thing show in this case here. We're going to talk a few things. We're going to talk, can Arsenal finally end the drought? Is ESPN correct when they say that the U.S. men's national team has a goalkeeper problem? Also looking at the MLS standings, 1/3 into the break. And also I will do my usual rant on NYCFC, where that team is going, and the fact that Pascal Janssen is starting to get a couple of Fire Pascal chants now. So in the meantime, sir, how the heck are you?
Doing well, Scott. How are you?
No complaints, no complaints. So yeah, let's kick this thing off right out of the gate. I picked up this article that showed up when it came to ESPN. Now, ESPN, for the most part, is by and large Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee, and that's pretty much all they've got. I give you that. The days of all the other people that were in there, Susie Colbert, Max Kellerman, all those people, gone. It's a brand new era. I get that. But they had an interesting article recently which says that U.S. men's national team has a goalkeeper problem for 2026. Now, I originally was looking at this article and I was looking at, everything in there, and I was thinking, okay, is it more of an issue where the team has just so many goalkeepers there? Do they have the right options? Where it's more of an influx, because the article starts out immediately talking about Tony Meola. Fine, I get that. That's understandable. But now in this case here, they're talking about Matt Freese for NYCFC, Revolution's Matt Turner, Chris Brady, Roman Solentano, and Patrick Schulte from Columbus, and the 5 MLS goalkeepers that are probably going to be in the running, at least to be on the roster. They may only carry 3, but I think in this case, that was part of it. But the interesting thing that they came out about was the fact that in this writer's mind, who is this, Jeff Carlisle, he feels that none of the 5 really have the skill set to be quality in the U.S. men's national team. And I found it interesting, given the fact that Matt Turner had started previously, and granted, he struggled a little bit in Premier League. Matt Freese is 27 years old at this point, not turning 28 till September, and is considered to probably be the starting goalkeeper for the team. And 3 other players in there that are in the running, but are, for the most part, by and large, too young. I'm curious what your take is on this. Is ESPN right? And is the goalkeeper position for U.S. men's national team a weakness?
I think they've got many weaknesses. I don't know necessarily that a goalkeeper issue is one of the big ones. I don't know. I think that if you ask me, I think that in recent performances of Matt Turner, I think has kind of made him the front runner, in my opinion.
You think Matt Turner's going to take it?
I do, yeah. I at least what I'm reading and what I've what I've looked at, and from a lot of these so-called experts are saying that, in the recent performances, he's pretty much made a strong case for him to be the lead candidate for the goalkeeper.
He's got a good save percentage right now for the Revolution at 80%, just over 80%.
Yeah, I think we can pretty much say that they're going to have 3 keepers, right?
Most likely, yeah. You got to assume that Matts are going to be in there, Matt Turner and Matt Freese. But then it comes down to who's the other one going to be. Is it going to be Brady? Is it going to be Celentano? But I think as a starter goes, it's going to be one of those two. But like you said, the team as a whole has so many weaknesses in so many different arenas right now. And we can talk, and we might talk about the issues that are currently going on with World Cup and ticket sales. And, well, new day, new story on that one in some way or fashion. But from this perspective, I feel like the team has bigger problems right now than goalkeeper.
Well, yeah, and I saw a question the other day. It said, would the men's national team, if they weren't the host nation, would they have qualified? Yes, of course they would have qualified.
I think they would have, yeah.
I don't think that's a question. But they asked, like, do they have the potential to make a deep run? And I said it before. I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think, looking what I saw in 2022, granted, this team, the makeup's a little bit different of this team roster wise. There's been some changes. Obviously, Berhalter was back then coaching. He's not there no longer. There's obviously been some changes in the last 4 years. But I just don't think this team is very good as a whole. You got some injury concerns coming. Uh,
Yeah. Patrick Aguiman's out.
yeah. What about Pulisic? A lot
Mhm.
of people are saying about he's been under scrutiny. He's been on a scoreless streak for AC Milan for a while now. His production has been very much down for AC Milan. What is that? I mean, that's not good. Is that, are we reading too much into that though too? It could he potentially, he's playing in the Serie A. Hey, maybe maybe he shines in the World Cup. He's playing for his country. Maybe he shines in the World Cup. Who knows? Um, you've had some management shakeup. You've had the sporting director, Matt Crocker.
Mhm.
He's gonna depart. You have um, what that on Yuwu. He's supposed to step in. Like I said, we have the goalkeeper battle. Like I said, I think Matt Turner. I think personally, if you ask me, I think he's the front runner for the goalkeeping position. However, I think Matt Freese is also. I think they're neck and neck. I
Yeah.
mean, who's
A and one
you know,
A. Mm.
right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows? What's going to happen. I'm interested to see. Obviously, we know. Yeah, they're going to have a nationally televised event May 26th in New York City.
We should talk about that too.
Yeah, they're going to officially announce the 26-man roster. I can't wait to see this because
Mhm.
I think I pretty much know the roster, but in some areas I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I really don't. Maybe this guy could step in. This guy could step. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when that breaks, and that's just a few weeks away. So at Pier 17, I believe, on the rooftop.
Yeah.
So which will be awesome. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Stay away
What's
from the West Side Highway that day.
yeah, really.
Now, yeah, before we get to that, I want to mention
Yeah.
this one. I think this is worth a note here.
Yep.
In this case, worth in your favor as far as Matt Turner goes. I mentioned the fact that he has the 80% win percentage right now, or I'm sorry, save percentage, but
Yeah.
also his team, the Revolution, have won 5 of the last 6, and
I
that
know.
other match was a draw.
Right.
So they have picked up 16 out of a possible 18 points. Meanwhile, NYCFC right now is winless in their last 5 home matches, which is something
Right.
I'm going to talk about a little bit later, because that's
Yeah.
only the 3rd time in team history that's ever happened.
Right.
So you have to almost wonder if, in this case here, while it may not be Matt Freese's fault, they're looking at the win percentages as well of the team across the board and saying, maybe we should go Turner in this case.
Well, and I tell you what, when you look at some of these friendlies that they've had that they've underperformed in, Mexico being one of them, it really wasn't Turner's fault. It
Yeah.
really wasn't. He actually kept them in most of these matches. It was just a lack of going on deep runs and just creating scoring chances is what I saw, and some defensive breakdowns as well. Some midfield issues, some giveaways. There's been other, there's been, it hasn't really been Turner's fault on it. And like you said, he's been lights out for the Revolution.
Mhm.
I said a few years ago, I thought this Revolution team was going to be good here in the coming years. He's kind of been a placeholder in that, so to speak. We'll see. I mean, they've got you got a couple. I think we got 2 friendlies before the opener. You got Senegal, and
Yeah, one
what's
at
the
end of
other
month,
one?
this month, and
Yeah, it's Germany, right? I believe. Yeah,
which is going to be a massive test.
which is going to be a massive test. Yes, I want to see and Senegal too. I think will be a little bit of a test too. I mean, I know they're not as good as they were back in 2022. They've had a massive overhaul in roster as well. But these are going to be some. You want to these friendlies. a lot of times I think we downplay these friendlies because we're just like, it's a friendly. But I really believe that they're taking these two seriously because it's so close to World Cup, and by that time you're going to have your roster already announced.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are going to be the guys that these two friendlies are going to be the guys for the most part. They're going to be in the World Cup, and it's going to be you're going to have you're going to really get a litmus test of where you're at, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And in this case, also with a team like the U.S. men's national team, where it's a very much prove it to me you belong here type attitude. If this World Cup happened to be in the UK or France, or we mentioned Germany or any of these places here, Portugal, the friendlies would not have, I think, as big of an impact. But right now the eyes are on here, because of the fact that the United States has so much to prove and has far more doubters than a lot of the other teams out there.
Yeah.
And I think even the worst teams out there, if you have to include like Haiti or Iran, if it was home turf there, I think they'd just be excited to be there. So as a result, even if they lose the friendly, it's like, we made it. We're actually, this is the part of it. So even I think they get a little bit of protection if hypothetically the World Cup were there too.
Well, as well as I do, the host nation always kind of gets the, that host nation, I knew, there's skeptical people out there that are saying, oh, well, I mean, some of these people that are saying, would the U.S. men's national team qualify yes, they would absolutely qualify. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The fact that there's people out there even questioning that, I cannot believe that.
I think even if they dead suck, they'd be in there anyway, just on cloud alone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just don't, I don't see these people that are coming out with this statement and holding true to it. I just don't they most certainly would have qualified. So I think you can take that and throw that out the window basically. Sure. But, I tell you what, we're close. I mean, we're only like a month and some change away from the
5 weeks.
From the opener at SoFi against Paraguay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think these two friendlies, they're going to take them seriously, and this is really going to be the litmus test to really see where we're at. If we were able to take wins on both these, or even I'll even take a draw. I'd even take draw in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel much better about this club and where it's at going into this World Cup.
Yeah, no, I think, but in this case here, goalkeeper, I think, is not the biggest weakness right now. And Turner's only 31. So, I mean, he's got years ahead of him. There's a lot, generally less wear and tear on a goalkeeper than there is anybody in the midfield or anybody like that. So I'm curious to see what they do. But yeah, I think this part's okay. ESPN may have a point on that, but I think there's bigger issues there.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's, and not to take a jab at ESPN, but it's coming from ESPN. I mean, they just, they need to stick with what they do best, and that's the NBA. I mean, that's all they talk about in ESPN is the NBA. They might as well call it, might as well be NBA.
ESPN NBA.
Yeah, right. I mean, they just. I was watching Get Up today, and my daughter had the PSAAs today testing, and I'm there in the hotel lobby watching Get Up, and all they're talking about is the NBA. I mean, the whole show, nothing but NBA. But I know I'm off topic, but
no, it's okay.
No, I mean, like I said, I don't agree with the ESPN. I mean, I don't think that the goalkeeper position is a weakness. I think they're in good shape with the goal. What I'm concerned about. What I'm really concerned about is some of these forwards and their ability to create chances, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting to see what they can do there. Sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the World Cup, I'm going to throw something left field out of this, and then we'll get to Arsenal. I'm not sure did you hear about this, but Fox Sports is giving one specific fan, and they're paying them $50,000 to watch every single minute of the World Cup. Did you hear about this?
I saw I did see what you had sent that. I didn't hear about it. No.
Yeah. So in this case, and there's a catch. That's why I've got the but and the ellipses at the end.
Yeah.
One fan is going to be making $50,000 to watch every single match, all 104 matches from June 11th all the way through July 19th. The catch is that they're going to be sitting inside a transparent cube in Times Square. So they have to watch every single match for 5 straight weeks from inside a box in Times Square. This is, I don't know about you, but one of the weirdest publicity stunts I've ever seen. I think it's going to suck probably a little bit more than this person may actually think it's going to, but is it going to work?
Well, yeah, when I saw that, I didn't read the whole thing, but I mean, yeah, I mean, so they're going to be in a transparent cube is what you're saying.
In
so
Times
everybody's
Square.
going to be able to see them.
Mm-hmm. Everybody can see what they're doing. They can see their reaction, which I would imagine probably whoever it's going to be is going to be expected to react animately instead of just sitting there like this. Because that's going to draw no attention. They're going to have to jump up and down. They're going to have to scream. They're going to have to do something because in Times Square, nobody pays attention to anything.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's just, yeah, I've been there. I mean, that's a little strange. I mean, I don't know that I'd necessarily want to do that. I don't think it, I mean, I would be fine. I mean, if they were like, hey, you got to watch every single game, I'd be completely fine with that. That'd
Sure.
be, and you're going to pay me for it, but doing it in a transparent cube in the middle of Times Square, I don't know. Are they going to have adequate NYPD? Yeah, exactly. Air conditioning. Are they going to have NYPD security there?
Dude, don't be surprised if people throw things at that cube.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, I've had cans of soup thrown at my head in that place. Right. It's like anything is possible.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been to Times Square. It's crazy. It's but yeah, that's a little strange. I don't know that I would necessarily want to do that.
But yeah, they're going to make the announcement in a few weeks.
So what is the point of it then? I don't know. I guess
the goal, I think, is what they're trying to do is they're trying to promote their Fox's new streaming platform because Lord knows we need another streaming platform out there. We really
absolutely
do, especially with sports. Yeah. So that's what they're trying to run with something like this. But I don't know. It's weird.
Bad enough
maybe there's more to it that I'm not seeing, but I don't know. To me, this is a really odd PR move.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that actually that one of the Fox Sports apps on Roku is going away. So maybe this is like, hey, we want to promote something else, so this is our way of doing it.
I think this is called Fox One or Fox Sports One or something. Not FS1 like they have now, but an actual streaming platform called like Fox One.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But speaking of announcements, you said you had something at Javits. Or down by Javits.
Did I have something? I don't remember.
The 26th.
Oh no.
You did cover it. If you want to skip that, okay.
Yeah. No, like the 26th of May.
Yeah, I think you said basically, Pier 17.
Oh yeah. They're gonna do they're gonna announce the 26-man roster on Pier 17 on May 26th. Yeah. No. 3 p.m.
I didn't know if you had anything to add to that. So.
No, I mean, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are going to tune in for that. I think there's a lot of people because let's face it. I mean, I think that the rosters, I think a lot of people, I think the rosters pretty much, I would say it's probably what would you say percentage wise?
90% probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's going to be some onesie twosies that may shock some people, but I think that overall, I think it's pretty much set. I think pretty much we know who's going to be on that roster and who's not. But I think we could have I think that some people are going to tune in because we may have some, like I said, some onesie twosies that may shock some people.
Sure. But I think by and large, I think who's going to be in there. Pulisic, Ream. We mentioned the goalkeeper side of it, certainly. So those guys, I think, are a lock. I think the question is really like below them.
Correct.
Past the starting 11, what the game plan is going to be.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think we pretty much know. Like you said, starting 11. I think that there's going to be maybe some changes, things like that. Maybe something that somebody didn't, foresee. Oh, this guy's actually made the team now. So.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. 3 weeks, by the way, for that one. Just under 3 weeks on that. So.
Right.
Okay, so the big topic that you and I were going to talk about here. Is it possible that Arsenal can end the draft or end the drought?
Well, I'm an Arsenal fan, as you know. Maybe some people out there don't know, but it's been 22 years. Boy, it happens like this every year. You're sitting at 76 points. Manchester City sitting at 71. Um, the question has been, how can Arsenal guarantee the title? Well, first, let me just say this: they do this every year. It's like every year they falter. They in the last 7 matches, it seems like they struggle, and it always seems like Manchester City is right there behind them. It always I remember 2 years ago, it literally came down to the final match, and Arsenal wasn't able to get it done. They drew. They weren't able to get the maximized amount of points. Man City won. This has been here's the deal: if they win all 3 matches and they win their final 3 games, they're going to finish with 85. Manchester City dropped points against Everton, which helped them. So their maximum possible point total is now capped at 83. So 3 wins mathematically guarantees them the title. Just looking at who they've got, I mean, you've got West Ham, which is away. That's winnable. You've got Burnley at the Emirates, which is very much winnable. And you got Crystal Palace. All 3 of these teams are facing relegation. So this is very doable. But I mean, stranger things have happened. Stranger things can happen. It's not over until it's over. And I would just mathematically they could win. I think they said they could win the title by next week, actually.
Yeah, 1 week from today they can do it.
Correct. Yeah, Manchester City would have to lose to Brentford and Crystal Palace. Right. Yeah. And and all Arsenal would have to do then would beat West Ham on May 10th, and they would be they would be the title winner. So as it stands now, they're looking at about an 86% chance. So I think that they're in the driver's seat. I think they're in the driver's seat.
But as you mentioned before, there's a history of basically collapsing at the end.
Well, and this is why Arteta gets the flack that he gets. Is because it seems like every year they do this. Every year they can't close it out. They don't close it out strong, and they how many times, in the final, I remember, what was it, last year in the final month, they lost to, who was it? I forget who it was. They lost to, it was Brentford. They lost to Brentford, a game they should have won, a game that would have, and that cost them the title, so, this is just, this is why Arteta.
You're worried history's going to repeat itself.
I'm worried history's going to repeat itself. However, I think, like I said, you're facing 3 teams that are all facing relegation. I think you should be able to get this done. Yeah.
But by the same token, that's when you have to be extra careful.
Correct.
Because if you don't treat, what the good news is that that basically, top seed is actually in the cards. So you got to play all the way through on this, but at the same time, Man City does have a game in hand. They have a tougher schedule, granted.
Right.
But you're facing 2 teams that are facing relegation right now. Correct. And if you play it smart, you can win these games here. You control your own destiny. Like you said, it's an 86% chance. But at the same time, all you need is that overconfidence, and you suddenly basically find yourself in second place.
Well, here's the other thing. You think that these teams might want to play spoiler too?
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh my God, 100%.
Right. So that's what you got. Arteta has to really.
Yeah.
He's got to get these guys laser focused here in the last coming 3 weeks. They've got to be laser focused here. And like I said, that's been his criticism, not being able to have this team. I understand that it's the guys executing on the pitch ultimately that decides the fate, but also the head coach is a big part of it. And I don't know. This is why he gets the criticism that he has, because the last couple years he's had the title in the bag and hasn't been able to get it done. So.
But at the same time, he also knows that if he can do that, he can exercise those demons as well.
Correct. And I mean, the table's set for them like it's never been before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is. It's a pretty easy path to the title at this point in time. Like I said, 86%. But like you said, you can't take this lightly though. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be laser focused, and you've got to finish this. And in the recent years, they've struggled to do that. So we'll see what they do.
Sure. So, but in your case, you'll be watching all the way through on that one.
Absolutely.
Home stretch.
Yep. Absolutely. First title in 22 years, and it's been long overdue. So,
but yeah,
22. I mean, Wenger was the guy when that happened the last time in 04, and that's a long time ago.
Absolutely. But, well,
I mean, that team, gosh, you had Vieira on that team, you had Bergkamp,
mm-hmm.
You had Siemens, the goalkeeper. Who else did you have on that team? Perez. I mean, you had some, Bergkamp. I was always a huge Bergkamp fan, so, but yeah, we'll see.
Indeed.
Fingers crossed.
Home stretch on that, but not a home stretch on this. Right now, Major League Soccer is about to close in on its 1/3 mark of the season, getting into basically the extended break, because we had a couple more matches at this point, and then suddenly the break for World Cup. So you're looking at this from the standpoint of going basically full throttle, as hard as you can, because suddenly you're going to get 2 months off by and large, unless basically you're part of the World Cup itself.
Right.
So, thoughts so far on the season?
I mean, I tell you what, I'm really surprised by. The team that I'm really two teams actually, and they're the top teams, Nashville and New England. I mean, I knew New England was going to be up, and I knew that they were. I knew coming into this season that they were going to be a pretty strong team. However, sitting at 1/3 of the season over, I didn't really know that they would. I didn't really think that they'd be second in the Eastern Conference.
Very quiet under the radar, because it's that streak we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
they've won 5 of 6, and the other one was a draw.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, we just had, we just heard from what was his name from San Jose?
Ted Ramey.
Yeah, Ted Ramey. I mean, we had him on there, and look at where they're sitting in the Western. They're sitting at number 1. Very, franchise that's really turned everything around for sure.
It has been fun to watch that team, man.
It has been, yeah, and I mean, it's. I think he said it the best. He said, this team is one of the better teams that he's seen in recent years, and he said it's just they're poised to really dominate, and they have dominated. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's I think like I said, I've been shocked by Nashville too. I mean, Nashville. I mean, I knew they were going to be good, but they're sitting pretty good right now. So.
Yeah, power of, like I said, in this case, Sam Surridge being such a huge aspect of that, and front runner right now for the Golden Boot as well.
Yeah.
They did have that surprising draw against Philadelphia the other day on the road.
Right.
Credit, by the way, to Philadelphia for pulling out a draw on that. I talked to somebody about that. It's like, they only tied. It's like, you tied against Nashville. It's got to count for something.
Right.
But what's possibly a little more dangerous, twofold. One, most of their games have actually been on the road so far, and they're 3-1-2 on the road as well, where statistically you typically do better at home. And granted, they've got 12 points in 4 matches there, but they have 11 points in 6 on the road, and that's, to me, even more impressive.
Yeah. Are you shocked are you shocked by Chicago at all?
Yes and no. I mean, Berhalter and has done, honestly, I think, a really good job with that team. There's a lot to be excited about with Chicago in general. I'm surprised a little bit though that Miami's been struggling at home so much.
They
had that loss the other day against Orlando, which was just ugly.
Right.
Good road team, but bad home team.
Well,
we will talk about NYCFC in a minute, by the way. I'll get to that in a sec. But
you wonder how much these guys, I mean, you wonder how much of these guys are kind of like maybe losing a little bit of focus, knowing that you're going to have such a long break. A lot of these guys, especially in Miami, a lot of these guys are going to be participating in the World Cup. You think there might be a little bit of distraction going on there, maybe?
Distraction, or maybe just conserving energy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing that where they're like, hey, we're only a third into the season. We're going to come back and we're going to have, the better part of the season, to close it out. Yeah, I think there could be something said about that. Anytime you have a World Cup, you know, year, I mean, you're going to have some. I mean, I know the last one, in Qatar, they had it. It was in, around Thanksgiving time. It was in
Hmm.
November, November, December. But you know, but this is I don't know. This is kind of you're kind of pausing, with just well, not more than a handful of games in, but you're pausing a third of the way in. So
Yeah. And it's going to be something that, ironically enough, MLS is going to have to get used to too. Not at this time of year, but
right,
with the new schedule that they have going forward, and starting around August, September, August, whatever it is, and then ending in May. They have that winter break too, so they're going to have a 6 to 8 week break in there as well. So this is something they're going to get used to on this side. But you got to wonder in this case for players that are in the World Cup, how many minutes they're getting, if there's going to be some, a bit of a fatigue concern in this regard. And then, of course, taking it from another perspective, you see players on the national team that suddenly get an ACL tear, and then and then the team itself is on the pickup. You know, you
right.
mentioned Patrick and Charlotte, obviously Alonso Martinez with NYCFC, and there's other ones out there that are getting ACL tears playing for the national squad. And it was one thing I asked Pascal Janssen about that probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, it's a disturbing concern, and we're looking into it right now." I don't know whatever happened to it, but he
Right.
did acknowledge that this is a massive concern that players on MLS's level are getting injured on the national level.
Oh yeah. That's a concern, and you're always going to have that when you have, especially in something like this. You're always going to have that where you're having increased workload, and that can lead to injuries.
Yeah.
Definitely can lead to injuries. So they're gonna pause, and then they resume play 16th and 17th of July.
Hmm.
Um, that's after the closing week, so we'll see
Immediately
how
after.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately after. So. Um, Did you see that Kai Kamara has announced his retirement, age
Yeah. You
41?
know what? We should talk about that too.
Yeah,
You want to lead
yeah,
that off while I pull up stuff?
yeah. I mean, he's 41. I mean, he's been in the league a long time.
He's been with a lot
Um,
of teams though over that time too.
he's been in a lot. Yeah, he's probably for a while. He's probably lived in a hotel for a while because he's just had, he's had a lot of. Yeah, you're right. He's been with a lot of teams. I'm just bringing it up
I
right.
think 14 MLS teams he's played for.
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, he's played for lots. Columbus Crew, San Jose Earthquakes, Houston, Houston Dynamo, Sporting Kansas City, Columbus Crew, New England Revolution, Vancouver Whitecaps, Colorado Rapids, Minnesota United, CF Montreal, Chicago Fire, Los Angeles F.C., and hit with his current club of FC Cincinnati.
Okay. And
So
then one of them, I think he doubled back at one point, right?
yeah, I mentioned Houston, and I
Yeah, but he played with one
added the
team
Houston
twice, I
Dynamo.
think, two different times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was yeah, let's see here. Yeah, he played with the Columbus Crew from '06 to '07,
Mhm.
and then again from 15 to 16.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's 13 different teams, but 14 different spots.
Yeah.
Phew. But
And I mean,
second,
he's been in the EFL a little bit. He played for Middlesbrough one
mhm.
year. He was on loan for Norwich City 1 year in 2013. So, he's made his rounds, no doubt about it.
Second most goals in history too, despite being the
Yeah,
absolute journeyman that he was.
right. Yeah, I mean, 41 is old for a player. I mean, that's,
Especially at forward, yeah.
right. Yeah, especially a forward. I mean, goalkeeper, you could probably get away with, with playing past 40. But yeah, forward, that's you lose a step. I don't care how much of an Iron Man you think you are, you still lose a step hitting your 40s.
Mhm.
You and I can both vouch for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of us
So
past the 40s even at this point.
yeah,
Into that half century mark at this point on my side of the fence.
yeah. I'm 45, but it'll be 46. So
You damn kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
But credit
but
to him. I mean, great career, like I said, across the board here.
Yeah.
Soccer Hall of Fame by all accounts, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But he did make his rounds around the MLS, no doubt about it. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
like I said, he's probably lived in a hotel for a long time.
Indeed.
So, what do you think too about this new 126,000 square foot headquarters at Penn Plaza there?
The first thing I thought about with that is I thought about the rent.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, to be honest, that's
exactly.
literally the first thing I thought about. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay. Can you afford that?
Yeah.
I don't know what the rent is on something like that, but dear God in heaven, I don't know.
Yeah. And I know we talked to some of these matches over the weekend. Orlando City, obviously, doing a comeback against Inter Miami in the Florida Derby. How about Real Salt Lake defeating Portland 2-0 with goals from Xavier Gozo and Diego Luna?
Oh yeah, RSL's been fun too. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
they
team
have
that's
been
been hanging around there.
Yeah.
They are a good home team. They're a little weak on the road. They haven't had a lot of road matches, so
Yeah.
that is a small bit of a concern. But they're staying tight.
Yeah.
And they've struggled a little bit the last couple of years. So I like seeing them, at least in the thick of it, third way through the season.
Did you see that? Just looking at some other stuff. They just come out with a little. It was like a it wasn't a poll, but it was basically the MLS right now is leading all North American men's sports and having the youngest and most diverse player pool.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Youngest player pool, youngest fan base too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in this case, the problem is that you get a lot of players that video. I still think about that video you sent me with was it Landon Donovan?
Yeah.
About coaching at between Germany and what he dealt with there versus what the U.S. is. So I don't know. Is it going to be able to overtake, like, say, NFL in this or American football in the South? I don't think so.
No.
Or baseball, even for that matter. But the advantage is that it's a little less expensive and a little less hazardous to your health.
I was just going to say that with everything, we've said it before with a lot of people, concerned about their kids playing American football with head injuries and things like that and CTE. Although soccer has head injuries too. Don't get it twisted. I mean they have concussions.
There is concussions in there, yeah.
It's not as I don't think it's prevalent as American football, but it is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean it is like you said, very relatively inexpensive sport to play. I have said before, I just don't think we do a good job at the youth level of just I just don't think of development really, developing players and just skills and fundamentals and things like that. We're behind in that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to take a long time, but it's gotten to this far in 30 years. So it'll be curious to see what the next 30 end up doing. Right.
Yeah. And it's still amazing to me sometimes how people in this country I hear this all the time. I talk to different people and they say, they'll say, oh, you cover the Riverhounds. Oh, why? I don't understand soccer. I'm like, how do you not understand soccer? Probably one of the most simplest games to understand. It's just, have you taken the time to actually sit down and understand it? It's
the offside rule is probably what they may be referring to.
Correct, but that's kind of like, not. Trust me, there's other sports that are more complex than soccer, and they seem to get those pretty easily. So I don't know.
But when you grow up inundated with NFL, holding, clipping, tripping, all those kind of rules on there, false start, pass interference, because you're ingrained in it. With soccer, you're not ingrained in it, so you got to learn it cold as you're older.
Exactly, and like in Europe, they're ingrained in it. They're ingrained in soccer, whereas they're not. It's not that way here. So
yeah, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I got one more topic on this one.
Okay.
This is kind of a my thing in this case. I happened to be at NYCFC's match at Citi Field against DC United the other day. It was the dullest, flattest, most de-energetic crowd I think I have ever seen in now 6 seasons of covering this team. There was no passion. There was no energy. There was no drive. The DC United supporters were actually louder than the NYCFC fan base was. And it's drawing a massive concern right now because the team itself is in a position where they've been on a losing streak. They're winless in the last 5. They're 0-3-2 in their last 5 home games, I should clarify. You know, the 4-4 draw that they had, this is numbers that you're going to relate to. The 4-4 draw that they had against FC Cincinnati about 2 weeks ago, they drew 7,099 fans at home.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's slightly above Riverhound territory for an MLS team.
Yeah.
You know, the other day that they were there, the number that shows up as US Open Cup says it was 9,000. But their numbers have been honestly pretty soft all the way through.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of concerns going on with this team right now because, you know, the team is not bringing out a good product. You know, right now the offense suddenly has completely stalled. They've got a match at home against Columbus, which will be at Yankee Stadium this weekend. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to make something happen there. But they've got 2 matches before the World Cup break.
Yeah.
And they got to get some kind of a momentum going.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want to go into this World Cup break, you know, faltering and then have to pick it back up and knowing, you know, that, you know, it's a long break.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's another thing. So some of these guys that aren't involved in the World Cup, I mean, they have to be doing something to keep themselves, you know, just keep their stamina up.
Sure.
I mean, what are they? I mean, what are they doing? I don't, you know, because
They
I
probably
mean,
take
you know,
one vacation with the family, and then they probably have an 80% routine.
Yeah,
or 70% routine.
Because you know as much as I do that, you know, you can stay in shape, but there's a difference between being in shape and being in game shape. And when you don't play for over a month and then you try to get back at it, I don't know. Do you think once play does resume on the 16th and 17th of July, do you think we're going to see some sloppy soccer? Do you think we're going to see some guys that are tired and then some guys that are rusty?
I think more rusty than tired.
Okay.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time for players to get back into their groove, to be, you know, playing alongside their teammates at this point too. You know, you might have some trainings in there, and there may be some optional trainings. Training might still continue, but it's not going to be, I think, to the same degree that they would normally have on a weekly schedule. So there might be a little bit of sluggishness out of that gate.
I mean, because like I said, you can't match game intensity and all. You can't unless you're. I mean, unless some of these guys are getting together and playing pickup games, but I doubt that they're doing that.
Probably
I mean,
not.
I doubt that they're. Yeah, I mean, they're not with risk of. That's the last thing you want to do is you're not, you know, you're not on the any World Cup rosters and you get injured, you know.
Oh, yeah. But I think they'll give themselves a little tiny break, you know, maybe like a week off, you know, to spend time with family, and then they're back at it.
Right. I mean, they're going to have to. You're going to have to. I mean, I know most of these guys are pro. You know, well, they're all pro athletes, but that, you know, these guys know what they need to do to stay ready. You know.
Sure.
So.
But that's what I'm thinking right now is probably going to end up being. But for NYCFC, winnable match against Columbus. Columbus is a shell of what it used to be without Hernandez and Wilfred Nancy.
Right.
But the team right now has no confidence at all. You know, last week, like I said, was just stunning.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing that Columbus is 10th right now. And, you know, right directly behind NYCFC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, if you want to get back on the schneid, that's the game to do it, you know, for sure.
And because both teams are fighting for a playoff spot, or at least a playoff spot going into the break is what I should clarify to say. Because again, that forward momentum kind of thing. And then NYCFC has a road match against the Red Bulls that statistically they've been hit or miss with. Ironically, they've won the last 2 at Harrison. but historically they've not done well there. So that's a complete toss up on the 16th. I don't have no idea what to expect. And then after that, done.
Right.
So I got to find out what the team's going to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's about all I've got, unless you got something else, sir.
Not really. Riverhounds lost 1-0 against Phoenix Rising over the weekend. Same, you were talking about the NYC FC being lackluster. They were lackluster. Not a lot of scoring chances. Didn't really press like they have in other games. And going into this game, they were 6-0 across all competitions at home, and unfortunately, that streak was broken. And they were. I asked Rob Vincent, one of the questions I asked him is, they were so lopsided in possession. It was like, at the half, it was like 60-40. And I said, what was your message at the half? And he said, we just message was, we got to get, more aggressive and try to, get on longer runs and try and do something. And he said, unfortunately, we weren't able to do it. So.
Well, see if they can turn that around too.
Yeah, I got Louisville FC on the road. This next matchup going to be tough. But and then they're on the road. They've got 2 weeks on the road, and then they don't come back until I think it was May 20th was their next home game. So we'll see. We'll see what they can do. So.
Indeed. So both teams in a little bit of a slide, but we'll see what ends up happening. So all right. Yeah. So, all right.
All right.
Appreciate the time as always. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Scott. That's Bill. Appreciate it. Follow your teams. Let us know in the comments what you want us to cover. Take care. Stay awesome.